In this final video for Educate Academy Chrome and Search, we're going to talk about the Google search engine. Um, Google Search is, of course, where Google started, but how well are we really using everything that is available to us? They've made a lot of improvements, and there's a lot of tips and tricks that you can use to really help you get the best search results that you can. Um, We'll also show you some resources that you can maybe share with your students to help them become better digital citizens and be smart searchers as well. So here is the slideshow that I'm going to show you. It is shared out at that link, and um, I'll just kind of go back and forth and do a demonstration and show you a little bit about some of these search tips along the way. The first thing we're going to do is go to www.google.com. And as you can see, today we have a special Google image there. But this is just our normal Google search page. It's a little different than just that blank home page that comes up. As you'll notice at the bottom corner, is a few menu items that you can choose from. And the first thing we want to do is start by turning on Safe Search in our settings if we don't already have it set up. So I go to Settings, select Search Settings, and as you see, the very first option there is to turn on Safe Search. If you put a check in that box, and then you can click over here to the right of that and actually lock Safe Search so that it could only be taken off of your account by entering the password. So once you have that turned on, and hopefully maybe your administrator of Google has already turned that on for you and for your students as well. But once you have that on, then hopefully your Google search results will be filtered. But it does warn you that it is not going to filter 100% of all of the inappropriate material. But that is part of accessing the internet. We have to be smart and know what to ignore and what to avoid in our own search results as best we can. And then, of course, your school should also have filters on the internet as well. So hopefully we have an extra layer of protection there for your students as they venture out onto the internet. I'm going to save my settings and then go back to my main Google screen. So now whenever I go into my search bar and I search for something that I want to find internet search results about, I can type it into the search bar and hopefully my results will be filtered. If you find a page that is not appropriate in this list, you can actually go and report that result to Google. So if there is something on here that you don't like or you don't think should be there, you don't have to actually click on the page. You can send feedback, describe your issue or what is wrong with that site. You can click and drag. Let's say this was the site. And then you can describe exactly what was wrong with that result. This is a great real-time interaction that kids can do to actually be a part of the internet community and feel like they're responsible digital citizens. This could be like a live writing assignment. They could actually type in feedback, say, oh, we saw something that wasn't appropriate, we don't think that the younger kids should see words like this, or that this site should come up whenever we search for whatever it was we were searching for. And then you include your screenshot and it sends it directly to Google. So they're actually helping contribute to the World Wide Web internet safety that Google is providing. You can do the same thing with images as well. If we go to the images list, you can send feedback on an image and describe and share your ideas there. At the top of my results page, you'll now see right below where I've entered in my search topic, I see settings and tools right here as well. Settings, that still lets me get to my search settings. If I have different languages I'd like to search in, I can do that. The unlock safe search option is right here. It would also be turn on safe search if I didn't have it already on. And I have an advanced search option. In this advanced search page, I see that I have a lot of other options to kind of narrow my search. You can try putting in an exact word or phrase and it will look for that. That's also the equivalent of putting words in quotation marks. So really, to get this functionality, you don't have to come to this advanced search page if you know the shortcuts that Google has provided right here. So important words just can be entered normally. If you type an or between words, that will let you choose one of the words or the other word. It won't have to include both in its search results. You can also put a minus sign before something to make sure it excludes that term. They also give you the opportunity to do ranges by putting 2 dots between any numbers that you enter. And then you can also add symbols such as the $, or you can add LB for pounds, and it will search specifically for that type of item and number range. So let's say I was looking for something maybe a little more ambiguous like cats. But the word cats could be more than just the animal. There also could be maybe a basketball team. So let's say I wanted to narrow down my cat search to not include basketball teams and hopefully just to get the animal. So I would type basketball into none of these words and hit advanced search. And then I can see that I'm getting maybe more targeted ideas. These top stories are coming from news and looks like tabloid type publications. So you might avoid those and then just try to get down to maybe scientific type things. I might also take out the word funny if I'm looking for more serious things. So as you see up here, it's translated my advanced search into a shortcut search. So I'm going to take out the word funny, and let's see what else I can do to kind of reduce this. And you might do something like if you're looking for maybe specific medical information, you might add a word that's more targeted to that search. But as you can see, each time we get a little bit more targeted results, and we can use these little shortcuts to kind of filter out the things that we don't want to see and really drill down to what we're looking for. We also have the ability to kind of filter our results using these tools here. On this search, when I click tools, you notice that these two filter drop downs come down. If I'm looking for results that something that's happened recently, I can use this anytime drop down to filter based on a certain time period that this news has been posted on the internet, whether it's just an article that's more recent so that I don't get outdated information, or it also could be maybe something that happened during a specific time in the past. So you don't have to go up until the present. You could stop at a time period in the past, and it should let you search back fairly far. Let me close out of this and actually go in and do an example search for this. Let's try searching hurricane. And we'll see that we're getting top stories on Hurricane Maria, probably Hurricane Irma. Let's go. And we're doing the past year. Let's say past week. We have Maria only. Let's go and do a custom range. And let's go back to August. And then we've got Hurricane Harvey in the top of our list. We could do another custom range that goes back maybe, let's see what was going on last year around hurricane season. So let's maybe start at the beginning of August and go through November of last year and just kind of look and see what hurricanes were going on. Okay, so here is an article on Hurricane Matthew. And it's showing at that time that is the warning that they were worried about. So if we go back, let's try something like 2005. Okay, so now I'm seeing the results for Hurricane Katrina because that's the year that that hurricane was coming through. So you can go back and find news stories that came out at that time if they're still posted online. And there's one from October 30th, 2005. So there'll be a lot of things that are archived that students could find from a certain time period if they were researching a certain event. And that time customization really will help you like zone in on the news articles of that day. Let's take a minute to look at a few of the other search operators that Google offers. As you can see, they do recognize the @ symbol for social media tags. So you can use @ to find a specific person maybe on social media. They also do the hashtag for social media topics as well. Like I said before, the $sign is a recognized symbol. The minus is used to exclude words. Quotation marks for exact phrases. And an asterisk is if you know part of an exact phrase but maybe are missing a word or two, you can just insert that asterisk and it will serve as a placeholder for any words that are missing. There are the 2 dots that represent the range of a number. So over here on the operator side, those were all symbols. The operator that Google allows here is cite : if you type this in and then type the name of a website immediately after, no spaces between that, Google will go and do a search of only that site to find results. So if you've ever gone to a website and they don't offer their own search bar at the top for you to find things on their webpage, Google actually will do that for you without them having to set up or do anything with their own search bar. So you just type in cite : and then that exact website, and Google will go and kind of search and crawl over that site and see what it can find. Related is another option that will let you find sites that are similar to the web address that you put next to the related operator. Or we saw that in advanced, that does one or the other or the other. You can keep adding more than just 2 words there. And it will let you search a bunch of different terms all at once. And info is getting the basic information about a web page, maybe old cached versions that Google has stored somewhere, similar pages to that site that you've listed, or a little bit more about the web address, maybe how it's hosted, who owns it, things like that. If you specifically want to look for the cache of an old cache of a website, old copy of it, then you just type in the word cache : and no space and then whatever the site is that you're looking for. Whenever you're actually starting to type in your search information, there's just a few things, maybe best practices that you can remember along the way. Make sure that you do not use question words. Google mostly ignores them, but it's just maybe better practice to actually type in text that you are thinking would be in the article or web page that you're looking for. So their example that they've given is, my 3-year-old cow has blisters on its tongue, what's wrong? So this is written out with proper capitalization, punctuation, but really this is not necessary. These capital letters are ignored by Google. Punctuation, other than what was shown on the other page, is also ignored. So basically you can take most of that out You can also take out that question word because you don't really want results with the word what's in it, um, unless you're specifically looking for a page that people ask questions and get answers. That's the only reason you would want that question word in there. If you're looking for like a medical article or a journal article, you won't need that question word in the actual text of the website. You can also take out words that might be unnecessary to your specific search might be unnecessary to your specific search purpose. So whenever they're searching for something that's wrong with their cow, it really doesn't matter that it's mine or that it's 3 years old. You might also take out little in between words like has, on its. So we're really just trying to strip down our text to the very basics. Let's get past the English language and communicating in a nice way with each other, and let's talk to it like it's a computer, which it is. It's just going to use your words and run its algorithms and find the results that match these words. Um, so now we're going to think about context for a minute. So if we're looking for an article that actually answers this question, how might they address the search items that we're looking for? If we're looking for something specifically from a veterinarian, we would use maybe a more medical or scientific word to describe what we're looking for. So they've replaced the word cow with cattle. They do have blister, tongue, and sick. Just basic words. You might even use something like disease or something like that, so that you're just stripping down this otherwise normal question down to something that the computer can read really quickly and go out and search on the internet and match things to what your search terms are. So what matters? Every word that you enter matters. Of course, the algorithms are going to try to sift through and identify words that are less important. Also, spelling does matter, but Google is good at noticing if words are misspelled, and it'll let you know, hey, did you mean right below your search terms. The order of your words actually matters. Let's say you were looking for something about programming. I would say computer science would get you a little different results than science computer, which we can test that also and just see what it looks like here. Let me go over here and go computer science. And we've got some things about programming. And I'm going to go to a new Google tab. So I've got capitalization, punctuation out of the way. I'm making sure every word is important and that they're in the correct order. And I'm also making sure that I'm using maybe industry terms or whatever it is that would be actually found on the website that you would like to find. The next part of Google search that I'd like to show you is the image search. You'll notice, like we saw earlier, whenever I type in any search item, images do come up close to the top if they're relevant. But if I want to just start with an image search, I can go directly up to the corner and click on Images to get this Google Images search interface. So I can see it says Google Images. Right here, I can search by an image that I already have on my computer, or if I have its location out on the web somewhere. I can choose a file right here or paste a URL. I could also just click and drag an image up into this search bar here. Let's say I had an image of a painting. I can click on it, drag it over, and drop it over here, and it automatically uploads and begins searching for that image. So let's say, oh, I don't know what the name of this painting is. Well, here it comes right up and says, my best guess is it's Sunday in the Park with George, and it continues to go on and tell me where this painting has been seen in pop culture, other places on the internet that this painting is posted, and just a lot of extra information about this image. So what can I do with this image search? It's good for if you find an image out on the web somewhere and you'd like to see what it actually is or where it came from. Here's a good way to do it. But also if your students are maybe using an image that they claim as their own, or that they say they've used the proper copyright information for, you can just drop it in here and search for that image, and you'll actually see maybe where it's been used on other websites, where it came from, um, and you'll get a little more information about what where that source material was and what type of permissions you have to redistribute that image. In the tools section of the image search, um, you have some options that either look for visually similar images or search by size. So let's say I wanted a high quality version of this image. I could go to the search by size, all size drop down, and look for large only, and you can see now that these are very high quality images that I'm getting. It has the little size printed right there on the side. So if I actually go and view that image, I'll see the actual size. I even have a plus sign there, so that means I can zoom in even further. You'll see I do have a high quality image right here. So going back to the Google Images main screen, let's say I'm looking for something that I do want to post on the internet. Let's say I'm creating a web page and I'm making a fake storefront for some little candy and ice cream shop. I would like to find some interesting pictures of ice cream, but I can't just use anybody's image. Most images are licensed by the person who took the image, and you may even have to pay a fee to use certain images. So Google gives us this special way to search for things using using our tools menu. We can actually filter um, based on usage rights for these images. I can go down and choose to pick images that are only labeled for reuse with modification, labeled for reuse specifically. If I'm a non-commercial, like maybe for a project in education, you might be able to use this label here, labeled for non-commercial reuse and modification, or labeled for non-commercial reuse. So if I click that, I get a more limited list, but at least I know that I am being honest and staying within the laws of copyright infringement. So now I can go and choose any of these images, and I know that that is a safe image to use. In that same vein, if I was looking for something for a website, all of my images might want to fit a certain color scheme. I can use this color filter here to go through and kind of narrow down what color in the background or what color is the main dominating color of that image. So let's choose maybe a turquoise, and now I can see that I'm getting more images that have this bluish turquoise hue to them overall. Um, so here's something that I might use. This is a nice image. It's got a nice blue in it, but it also displays the item that I'm looking for. So if I click on that, I can actually go and view that image directly. So that's the link to that exact image place. And I can see that I have a free download available, and it is in the Creative Commons free for commercial use licensing. One other feature of Google Search that I'd like to make sure you remember to use is these other narrowed searches that show up right below your search item. So we've already discussed images. You also have the option to look for videos, news articles specifically. So they come from news sources, books, and then if you go to the More tab, you also have maps, shopping, flights, and these items will rearrange themselves based on what Google thinks is the most relevant to your search. So if you search for an address or a city, maps will be up here like in the second category. Um, Let me type in Murray, Kentucky. And then here we see maps jumps up to the top of my list. Another interesting um, web page that Google offers is called trends.google.com. And that will show you the items that are trending right now on their search engines. You can search and explore across different countries, across different times throughout history. And this is just a really neat tool for research and possibly doing projects with your students. If they need to do research on a certain item, they can go and actually see data about how popular that item was in searches, which kind of tells you kind of how big of an impact that item had at any time throughout history. Another site maintained by Google is scholar.google.com. And this will allow you to search for different items, but only will give you search results that are scholarly articles. Um, you can search for anything historical, maybe something in the news or something that you're doing research on. And then that item, those search results will let you um, customize a range. You'll see full PDFs available there. You can sort by date. This is just a very limited search engine that is going to only give you search results that are in scholarly articles. So that will be very good for research, especially in academia and things like that. So perhaps if you're taking a grad class or something and you need to do research, scholar.google.com will be a great resource for you. So we've talked about turning on Safe Search. If Safe Search does not seem to be giving you quite as safe of results as you'd like, there is also a site that is maintained by people outside of the Google world, but still is using a Google custom search engine. It is called KidRex. It is maintained by kids and parents, and it's kind of a crowd sourced information here, so they just collect information and make sure that sites are filtered out. So everyone's contributing to this site. So this is maybe a safer place for you to take your students to search, and you'll see that the results are a lot more filtered and shouldn't have anything questionable in there. So you might try that, and it's gotten good reviews of the people by the people who've used it. So that's just another option for you when dealing with students and the internet. So now that we've learned a lot about the Google search engine and how to find things, how to be smarter with our searches, a fun exercise is to perhaps give your students a challenge, an online scavenger hunt, where they actually have to go out and search for certain items, and they have to be fairly specific in order to find the results that they need. Um, there is a Google employee, which I'll click on his site here. His name is Dan Russell, and he is employed by Google, and he works with the search engine a lot. But he does these weekly, daily search challenges that are meant for adults to respond to. But if you also go out and search online, you'll find other teachers, educators who are doing this with students, and may have um, a scavenger hunt already made that you could possibly use with your students. Um, so let's do an example. So here's a search challenge um, that was presented by Dan Russell on his page. Where are you? If you're looking out at this scene, where would you be? The first thing I'd like to do to try to solve this little puzzle is to actually try to search Google for this image. Sometimes if it was on a web page, you could right click. You can't do that in a Google slide, but I've already linked the actual location of this image. So now that I have access to this image, I'm going to go right click in that menu and go to search Google for image. So this is the same as if I had saved this image on my computer, uploaded it, and dragged it into the image search. So from here, I can see here's some very similar pictures. A lot of them are just buildings, but let's see. I think that this one looks the most like the building, my original picture possibly. I'll have to go back and compare. Yes, it looks like it's got that teepee at the top. Um, so where is this building? I can go and visit the website where that building is, or this image is, and it looks like it is the Spectrum Tower that is in Warsaw, Poland. So then I found out where this building was. The challenge that Dan Russell actually um, provided was to figure out where the picture was taken. So if you can find on a map maybe where that building is located and look down the street, you might actually find the building that you might be standing in to get this type of angle for this picture. Then that's going a step beyond what you might want to do with students, but still it just brings up some interesting ideas and kind of get your mind thinking about ways that you can challenge your students and to use Google and search engines and the internet in a way that will benefit them later on whenever they have to go out and research things that aren't just easily found in a textbook or on a site that someone's already prepared for them. Here's another maybe more fun one. What kind of fish is this? Once again, I've linked to just an image of this site of this challenge. I'm going to right click and search. And these are specifically Google image searches. So whenever you're doing your scavenger hunt, you might do a few of these, do a few of like facts, historical facts that would be hard to find. This is very similar. In fact, it may be the exact picture that I found. And it looks very similar to some of these other fish. You'll also see when you're doing an image search that it gives you visually similar images right next to your search results as well. So I would say that these fish are very similar. There may be some differences there. But this page that I'm looking at is actually going to take me back to Dan Russell's page because this is his specific picture that he put on there. But he's got the answer here. So you might choose one that they can't search for too easily. Otherwise, they'll just go and find that other teacher's scavenger hunt and find the answers. So this is just meant to give you some ideas for making scavenger hunt questions for your class. So what I would like to do is have a Google document shared amongst our class that we could all maybe add a few scavenger hunt questions to. That way we can just get us started on some maybe fun exploration of the internet, and also just kind of to challenge our students to also learn about Google. I know they can use technology, but can they use it in an intelligent and safe way? So I will link a few resources for you this week, and hopefully after we complete this little scavenger hunt, we'll be ready to go and use Google in a more efficient way. Thank you.